Souls. I come to you today to share a message, share a story, share some of my experiences in life. For now, I am just attempting to open a channel, letting what information needs to flow, what thoughts are sparked in a moment of peace and quiet. I think today we will speak about self-love. Self-love is one of those things that I remember before I had figured it out. People would tell you, you need to love yourself, you need to have self-love. And I found it a very aggravating thing to hear because no one told you what that looked like. How did you love yourself? How does that feel? Like, what are you supposed to actually do? And I remember I took a few years from dating to try and figure that out, to be like, because I kept having failure after failure. They would end after a month or two. No one ever told me why. And the only thing I could figure out was that I was the common factor. So I took some time to see if I could figure out what could be wrong, what could be missing. And it wasn't that anything was wrong or missing even. It was that I had been given bad information by life, by circumstance, by interpretation. And, during those few years, I spent a lot of time like, well, perhaps self-love looks like getting massages. Perhaps it looks like working out. Perhaps it looks like eating better. And I did all those things. And I didn't really feel like I loved myself more. But I didn't know, again, what I should expect. And then I decided, well, it's been a few years. Let's try and date again. And then again, it failed. And I even reached a point of being like, love must not be something I am capable of receiving. And I was right in a way. You see, I held so much. I don't even necessarily want to say self-hate, but like, I didn't trust myself. I didn't speak kindly to myself. I didn't do things because they were what I wanted to do. It's because they were things I thought I needed to do. Was I would go to a lot of these social events being like, well, you'll enjoy it once you're there. You'll enjoy having gone after. And that was true, but it was also exhausting to keep doing. Week after week, month after month. And I was trying to force myself to be something and someone I wasn't. It wasn't until I received the advice of, if you want to learn to love yourself, begin by dating yourself. The principle being that whatever activities you would do to get to know someone, to learn if you were compatible, if you might love each other, are the same activities you should do, but just by yourself. Among the things I would do is I would go to restaurants, I would order food that I didn't know if I would like, but I would learn if I did or I didn't. I learned just last week, in fact, that I like hummus. Me of a few years ago, before I started this, would have heard those words and been like, ew, I don't know what it is, but it sounds like something I wouldn't like, so I'm not going to try it. And all I would have done was denied myself something I quite enjoy. There's a version of me that hated all forms of onion, but I have since learned that what I don't like is raw onion. I quite like cooked onion. In fact, um, I can't even tell there's onion in it most of the time. And so I've been learning about myself. Things that I never knew. Things I would, a past version of me would have assumed I hated. And that's sort of been this process of learning who I am. And in learning who I am, I come to appreciate myself more. So much so that I reached a point of liking who I am so much that now I can truly say I do love myself. Because I don't live my life in a way that makes, because there was this delusion that I had to be a certain way for people to like me. And the simple truth is that if you are trying to mix with people who have different hobbies from you, different life experience, different interests, then yeah, you may need to put on an act for them. But life is much easier when you live your life in accordance to what you enjoy, what you like. And it's true that the people that you were putting on an act for may fall out of your life, but it's because your life is making room for people who like the authentic you. And when you are around people that like the authentic you, you no longer have to put an energy into performing. There was a time when I would go to karaoke at a bar. So I was like, well, I need to meet a partner, and bars are a place that people meet partners. And I tried that for a few months. And the thing I discovered that I realized was that if I met someone there that I hit it off with, that part of being together would probably involve going to bars and going to karaoke. And both of those things were not things I really had an interest in doing after I met someone. So I was like, well, if I don't want to do it after meeting them, I certainly don't want to do it now. And it was, in fact, doing something that I helped create, an activity I enjoy, that I finally met someone. So I will tell you from personal experience that following your passions and excitement, the things that you love, the things that bring joy to your life, are the places that you're going to meet someone that's truly compatible with you. Yeah. Um, if you're in a place right now where you hold a lot of self-hate, my only suggestion to you is, date yourself. Yes, that's true. But even more so, I want you to start treating yourself like someone you love. If you wouldn't say it to your friend, perhaps to a child you take care of, maybe don't say it to yourself. Say the kind thing. And as you are kinder to yourself and more loving towards yourself, you will find those thoughts, those beliefs come easier with time. Now, be mindful that whatever patterns you have likely have developed over the course of years. And it may take years to undo them. My experience is it will not take as long to undo them as it did to establish them. And I'm sure that there will be times when you will find it hard to do so. I know I have. I can speak on this more if there's an interest in it. But for now, know that you are loved. If by no one else, then you are loved by me. And thank you.